Welcome to CBS Sports presents Numbers Don't Lie, powered by Sofascore, the show where we talk the biggest names in the biggest games. And we're going to have a conversation about something we've been talking about, JD. Who is the best winger in the world? I know we can think of a couple names, but there's one name in particular that I'm thinking about, Michael Olise. Where does he stack up in terms of the best wingers in the world, JD?
You know where he is. Born in northwest London, raised in South London, and now for the world to see how great he is. As Chris Brown would say, he's sensational. And I really do think he is the best winger in world football because you combine that incisive dribbling in terms of being able to skip past anybody on the inside. You know what he's about to do and you just can't stop it. And now you combine that with the creativity, the playmaking ability, and more importantly, the finishing touch that he has. Michael Olise is on a completely different plateau right now. And I'm so glad he's getting an opportunity to showcase what he can do around other world-class talent, but most importantly, on the biggest stages.
Yeah, I love that we're talking about this because, I mean, the numbers literally do not lie with this. The goals that he's been a part of, I mean, you could take it from every single match just about. I know a couple Bayern fans were a little critical of him. I think in November he went through, by his standards, a small patch, a lull patch. But, I mean, this guy is playing out of his mind, JD. I mean, when we look further into the numbers, I mean, what about him? Is it the shots? Is it the dribbles? Or is it even further?
It's the fact that he does this. It's the silent assassin. He does no talking and just makes sure that he does all of his talking on the pitch. And I think about all of these other players, right? I hear a lot from him in terms of most recently about his growth and his own personal development. I hear a lot from him in terms of wanting to be the leader of his team. You know, we always hear a conversation around Mason Greenwood. And Lamine Yamal, I always feel like he's always one tweet away from trying to shaking the whole world up. But this guy right here, just silence. Goes and does his business on the pitch, even in his post-match interviews. You're lucky if you get more than 5 words because the gift is not the gab, it's in the feet. And I love the fact that he just does it on a consistent basis right now. We've seen the glimpses at Crystal Palace. We already knew what he could do coming for the Chelsea Academy, but now you can see him on the biggest stages around other world-class talent, people who understand his mentality. Oh, he's not just going to be shining for club, he's going to be shining for country. 2026 is going to be a breakout year for Michael Olise.
Yeah, well, it's in the breakout here on Numbers Don't Lie and Sofascore as well. I mean, he is the only player that's earned himself a perfect score 3 times, right? No other player has done that in this season. I mean, you look at the other players in Europe's top 5 leagues that are in that conversation. Harry Kane, he did that. Kylian Mbappe, okay, he did that. Harry Wilson, Eze, the hat trick in the North London derby. Anthony as well, CDK. But I remember this match against Leipzig. He actually came off the bench to get 3 assists and a goal in a match that Bayern just against RB Leipzig. But as we talk more about Michael Olise, we had seen the names that he's in the conversation with, right? You'd mentioned Mason Greenwood. You'd mentioned Rafinha. But when we talk about other wingers in world football, there's only one other winger I'm thinking about right now that plays on that same side with Michael Olise that we need to compare him with, right? Lamine Yamal. Because Michael Olise is doing it in the Bundesliga, but Lamine Yamal has been doing it, you know, since last year and even this year. But when we look at the numbers overall, I mean, where does he stack up on this graph?
I mean, look, the goals and the assists, you can see that he's obviously going to rank so high because he's not just contributing, but he's contributing consistently. That word consistent is a defining factor because I've always said that he's had the ability, but now when you start seeing him against some of his peers, who I think against Shirky is incredible. Lucho Diaz, we've already spoken in terms of high praise. Rafinha, we already know in terms of the goals or what he contributes. But this is what I'm looking at here. And you know what I love about these 2 players? They give me the eye test. They give me the feel. They give me the vibe that I haven't had since, let's say, the turn of 2000, where they make me sit on the edge of my seat and I'm sitting there wondering what are they going to do next. It doesn't seem like they have a scripted play, and I love the fact that both of their managers give them an element of freedom. Go and be the best version of yourself, be dynamic in the final third, and more importantly, I trust you to make the right decisions. All that's happened in Olise's game is he's always had this ability, but now finally he's putting it all together and doing it on a consistent basis, and that decision making has gone to another level, and yet now you're seeing why he's in the conversation, and I definitively will say he is the best winger in world football.
I love that, and I stand by it. I back it. Now, this is a big year for both club and country, as you'd mentioned. But when we have this discussion about the best wingers in world football, I want to have another discussion, right? An elevated discussion, an educated discussion about who is a Ballon d'Or candidate. In my opinion, Michael Olise should be in the conversation for the Ballon d'Or. And so I want to throw this to you guys in the chat. And ultimately, JD, this is the conversation we're going to have. Is Michael Olise a true Ballon d'Or candidate? Because the numbers we saw there say he's in the chat, But are the numbers deeper than that, and should he be in the conversation?
Yes, he's in the conversation. What I will say is, you know what his season very much reminds me of? Remember that Iron Robin 2013, 2014 season? In a very similar shirt, I will say. And it was the excellence that he had. And it was the element of surprise and the consistency, again, of that amazing Robin season. But what they coupled it with was trophies. You need trophies. You need something that's going to stand you out. And unfortunately, this is going to be a positive on the pitch, but it's going to be a negative off the pitch. He has a teammate who's also in that conversation. And when you have a teammate who's a front runner, one of the best strikers in world football, and not too long ago, we were standing on this same set and saying he was a front runner for the Ballon d'Or in Harry Kane, it starts to add on, I wouldn't say deflate your argument, but at the same time, you recognize that this is a world-class team and he's got other assets with him as well.
So we look at, these are the assist records in each of the top 5 leagues, right? Kevin De Bruyne is what he's done. You know, Thomas Muller, what he's done. Michael Olise is almost in that conversation, right? And this is in the Bundesliga that has less games than the Premier League and other people. But we got to talk about the GOAT, Lionel Messi. And I know Lionel Messi is in a league of his own, but when it comes to creativity, Michael Olise, he's in that conversation for me because the numbers aren't too far off from the career averages. And, of course, this season, he's on a rocket ship, JD. So when we compare it, I mean, is he having a Messi-like season in terms of creativity and dish and assists?
Let's just time out for 1 second. And this is no shade on my boy Michael Olise, but I need you to come and zoom in on this. Look at this word right here. This, right, explains greatness over a prolonged period of time. 1.44 for a career average. Now, what I will say is when you look at Michael Olise, yeah, incredible season. But it's like when I hear it in basketball terms, when they compare SGA season to Michael Jordan, there's just levels to it, right? There's an understanding that this is the GOAT and this is someone who's having an incredible season. How you enter this conversation in terms of the Messi conversation is I need prolonged excellence. Okay, that's what I need. I need prolonged excellence.
Okay, I'll give you that one. Now we're going to compare him to a more comparable conversation, right? Because when we talk about Barcelona and we talk about that heir apparent to Lionel Messi, Lamine Yamal's definitely been in that chat last season. These are the numbers, right? And this season, these are the numbers across 50 games and 55 matches for both. I mean, we have a real conversation. So when we talk about who is the best winger of world football, these two come to mind, no?
Yes, they do. And I'll tell you now, he is not going to end up 30th in this Ballon d'Or rating because he's taken his game to another level. We've already discussed this. But remember I said to you that turn of the century when I started thinking about some of them wingers? I started thinking about Pavel Nedved. I started thinking about Luis Figo. I started thinking about Zinedine Zidane. Those attacking players that used to make you sit on the edge of the seat. These two are the front runners in world football right now. When I think about those players that get me excited, that make me rip up tactics, forget the coaching manuals, all the rest of it, they just can do excellence by themselves. They can change a complete game. But I want to know, where do you feel? When you look at these two right now and where they are going, do you think there's a little competition? You see the same way we have the competition about Haaland and Mbappe and Kane. Do you think these two are watching each other and recognizing in terms of, oh, there's a little something over there that I need to keep an eye on?
I mean, if we did, we're going to see Instagram story for this man right here, or maybe a tweet, because he's very active on social media. Well, we don't know where they're going to finish in the Ballon d'Or race. We definitely don't know yet where Michael Olise is going to finish in the Ballon d'Or race. It's sure as hell not going to be 30th place, or else we're going to write here on Numbers Don't Lie. But when we talk about transfer values, when we talk about money well spent, look at all these other players. $63 million for Michael Olise, to give you the numbers we just saw. But go through this, JD. I mean, our team's overpaying. Mohamed Kudus, what's he even doing here?
I break it down and I would say the only person that's justified their value so far is Kvaratskhelia, because of course he's produced, and more importantly, he's produced trophies, right? So you can already say that he's returned his value. Antoine Semenyo, I love the story. I love the journey all the way from the National League all the way to now the pinnacle of the Premier League. Deserves all the plaudits, justified fee for his consistency and his greatness. Kudos, okay, we'll get into that conversation another time, but he's still got a World Cup and at the end of the season to turn around and showcase what he can do. This is the part where I need Chelsea fans to look away, because Pedro Neto, Jamie Gittins, even Endrick, there's no way you can tell me that if your scouts were out here and Michael Olise was available for $63 million US, these you can justify. No way in hell. I'm telling you now, not a chance. Numbers do not lie when it comes to the transfer value, and Olise's return on value has been sensational.
Yeah, look, man, you can't argue with a Conference League trophy, right? I'll just say, no, I'm just kidding. Right? No, the numbers don't lie. I hope we're not lying, but we want to hear from you guys. Is Michael Olise the best winger in the world? And is he, or should he be, a Ballon d'Or candidate? You tell us.
Hey, thanks for watching this video from Numbers Don't Lie. Be sure to catch our show every Monday at 5 p.m. on YouTube. And for news and insights from leagues all around the world, including Serie A, EFL, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.